Have you ever felt trapped by a responsibility you desperately didn't want? A duty that felt less like an honor and more like a heavy chain? We all face moments where what we have to do clashes with what we want to do. But imagine if that duty came directly from God, and your deepest, most primal instinct was to run as far and as fast as you could in the opposite direction. That's the exact, heart-pounding dilemma of a man named Jonah, and his story is far more complex than just a guy, a boat, and a very big fish when we hear the name Jonah. We often picture a stubborn, disobedient prophet. We might even label him an anti-hero. But let's pause on that judgment for a moment. Instead of seeing his reaction as simple defiance, let's look at it as a profoundly human response to an overwhelming, terrifying task. The command from God was clear: go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. Nineveh wasn't just some random town, it was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, a brutal, violent enemy of Jonah's people, Israel. Sending Jonah there was like sending a lone peace activist into the heart of a ruthless military dictatorship to tell them they were doing everything wrong. It was, by any human standard, a suicide mission. So why did Jonah feel this burden so acutely? It wasn't just about personal safety, it was about national identity, historical trauma, and a deep-seated hatred for an enemy that had inflicted immense suffering on his people. He wasn't just being asked to deliver a message. He was being asked to offer a chance of mercy to the very people he believed deserved destruction. This wasn't a noble quest in his eyes. It felt like a betrayal of his own people and everything he stood for. He wasn't running from God out of laziness or cowardice in the typical sense. He was running from a mission that seemed to defy all logic, justice, and self-preservation. Now, let's consider the sheer psychological weight of a divine imperative. Imagine a voice, an undeniable presence you know to be the creator of the universe, giving you a direct, non-negotiable command. There's no room for debate, no HR department to appeal to, no way to tender your resignation. For a human mind, this kind of pressure is immense. It can easily manifest as extreme anxiety, a paralyzing fear, or even deep-seated resentment. Why me? Why this mission? Why them? These questions would scream inside your head. Jonah's immediate reaction to flee to Tarshish, literally the opposite direction of Nineveh, was just a geographical move. It was a desperate psychological escape. He was trying to outrun a calling that felt like a curse, a divine burden too heavy for any mortal to bear. His resistance wasn't a sign of a weak faith, but a sign of his very real, very raw humanity colliding with the incomprehensible will of God. And this is where the story gets really interesting. God doesn't just let him go. The storm, the sailors, the casting of lots, it all serves to corner Jonah, to show him that you can't run from this kind of calling when he's thrown overboard and swallowed by the great fish. It's not just a punishment, it's a divine intervention, a forced pause in the darkest, most isolated place imaginable. Inside the belly of the fish, stripped of everything, Jonah is finally forced to confront the one thing he couldn't escape, himself and his relationship with God. He's no longer running. He's trapped in a moment of profound, terrifying surrender. It's in this dark, suffocating womb of the sea that his perspective begins to shift, moving from panicked resistance to a reluctant, humbled acceptance. He prays not a prayer of defiance, but a prayer acknowledging God's power and sovereignty. Jonah's story forces us to ask ourselves some uncomfortable questions. What do we do when our calling leads us to places we don't want to go, to people we don't want to love? How do we reconcile our human fears and prejudices with a divine command for compassion and grace? Jonah isn't a perfect hero. He's flawed, resentful, and painfully human, and that's precisely why his story is so powerful. It shows us that even in our deepest resistance, even when we are running in the opposite direction, there is a grace that pursues us, a purpose that won't let us go, and a power that can work through even the most reluctant heart. His journey from the ship to the belly of the fish and finally to the streets of Nineveh is a testament to the persistent, often uncomfortable, nature of a true calling. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonates with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into these incredible narratives. See you next time.